The caravan was led by Prince Jaffna ibn Admir, one of the 4 sons of the king of Sheba. It was a long journey, but they found solace in modern-day Syria, where a water spring named Ghassan made Prince Jaffna to establish a new kingdom, the Kingdom of Ghassan, becoming its first king in 220 CE. The kings of Ghassan established an alliance with the West, Roman and Byzantine empires, which gave the Ghassanids their cosmopolitan and progressive nature without losing their Arab roots. Maybe the most famous Ghassanid king of the First State was Al-Harith V, cited in Greek sources as Aurelius. As a great general, won several battles as a Byzantine ally against the Persians. That glory gave him such a degree of power that made the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I to bestow upon him the title of King of all Arabs, having the same imperial address of Basileus as Justinian himself. That extended his control beyond the Ghassanids. In the 9th century, Emperor Nicephorus I sat on the purple throne, claiming to be a direct descendant of the Ghassanid sovereigns, evoking the name of King Jaffna, the first king of Ghassan. Even Ghassan and Christianity being a synonym of rebellion and heresy to the Islamic powers, some Muslim dynasties have claimed a blood link with the Ghassanid dynasty. Like the Rasulid sultans who ruled part of modern-day Yemen and Saudi Arabia from 1229 until 1454 CE. The Rasulids descended from the eponymous Rasul, aka Muhammad ibn Harun al-Ghassani, or the Ghassanid in Arabic. The Mamluk Empire was one of the most powerful in the Arab world. The Burji dynasty also claimed to have had blood connections with the kings of Ghassan. The island of Rhodes is famous for its magnificent resorts, ruins, and for being occupied by the Hospitaller Knights of St. John of Jerusalem. The island was also ruled by Ghassanid sovereigns for over half a century. The precise date of the island control is not known, but the fact that Heliogabalus, the Greek transliteration of Jabal, referring to the last king of Ghassan, was recognized as Caesar and master of Rhodes in 1203 CE is widely documented, adding another imperial title to the Ghassanid dynasty. According to the Maronite patriarch Estephen Douahi, reputed as one of the greatest Middle Eastern historians of the 17th century, and also being in a beatification process since 2008 by Pope Benedict XVI, one of the families to be a direct descendant of the kings of Ghassan were the Sheikhs el-Shammar. The Sheikhs el-Shammar, faithful to the royal Ghassanid law, remained Christians. They ruled 2 small sovereign principalities until the 18th century, over 1,500 years after King Jaffna founded the Kingdom of Ghassan.
The family is one of the oldest family in the Arab world.
The history of the family of the Sheikhs el-Shammar was recently collected by the Maronite priest father Ignatius al-Khoury, with a book published in 1948 in which he spoke about the ruling of the Sheikhs of al-Shammar of al-Ahura, in addition to their transfer to the Zawi. They ruled the region of the Zawi and spread in several villages like Kfer Hatta, Erdad, Rashin, and Quito, and their presence in Lebanon was due to their descent from King Jabal in al-Ayyam al-Ghassani, the last king of the Ghassanids.
Even our family, being Christian, we are related to the kings of Jordan and Morocco, to the last king of Saudi Arabia through his mother, also to several Saudi princes, to the Sultan of Oman, to the emirs of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, to the last Lebanese princes of the Shihab family, etc. The Christian sect of the family ruled until the 18th century in Lebanon, and it was dethroned by the Ottomans. But even no longer ruling, many family members kept publicly using the titles until today. The Muslim sect of the family ruled until the 1921 the Principality of Jabal Shammar, or Jabal Shammar, or Hail in today's Saudi Arabia, so until the 20th century.
We established in Al-Aura, and we were there for something like 1,000 years, or maybe a little bit less. And when we left Aura, we went to the north, which we call the Zawi, and this is between Tripoli and Ehdin. And we established ourselves in Farhata, and we stayed there since.
In Lebanon, many people don't know, but you have sheikhs that are royal sheikhs, like their counterparts in the Gulf, for example, and you have sheikhs that are like barons, like counts, dukes, people elevated to nobility by other princes, in this case loyal to the Ottomans.
This is a tribal title, and rulership, it's a rulership title for a tribe. There are two different ways, either emolument given by an authority, or, as I said at the beginning, a tribal acceptance of that individual to carry the rulership, representing the sole authority of that particular tribe. In the religious term, a sheikh is also someone who is the elder member of the family, someone that has earned his respect. But both the Abbasid and before them the Umayyad empires, and of course the Ottomans had a variation of it with the Pasha system that they brought in. The term sheikh was used as an entitlement, as a title given to a particular individual in a family, recognizing that individual's certain privileges that the other members of the family did not have. As I say, the Ottomans changed this a little bit by bringing the term Pasha into but it's equivalent, more or less equivalent. Sheikh and Pasha are pretty much equivalent. A Mr. in the Ottoman area was an Effendi only. A Pasha was someone that was revered. He had certain privileges, just like a Sheikh had certain privileges. Now, in the Sheikhdoms of the Arab world, that is the governments of the Arab world that are based on a particular tribal family, Sheikhdom or Sheikh has taken on the title of a ruler in certain instances. For example, in Kuwait, the ruler is known as Sheikh al-Sabah. He is the only one that actually carries that title in the country. That doesn't mean that there are not other sheikhs in Kuwait. There are lots of sheikhs in Kuwait, but there is only one sheikh, so to speak, one ruler. Those that had emoluments given to them from the Ottoman Empire kept the title of sheikh. That's why today, for example, in Lebanon, you have the Al-Ghassan family as one example that still uses the title of sheikh. You have the Harb family that still uses the title sheikh.
One very important thing is that even if we didn't descend from the Ghassanid Kings, we'll still be a sovereign ruling house, since we ruled in two autonomous regions of today's Lebanon for almost 500 years.
In the Arab world, the successful ruling families, both Muslim and Christian, have been those that have actually managed to keep the family tight. The power was controlled by very few individuals. Whereas in Europe, for centuries, you had internecine fights between different branches of families until such time when one family emerged victorious and imposed rule, after which all of the succession followed a particular primogeniture system. In the Arab world, this has not occurred until very recently. That's why you had lateral succession processes where not just sons, but cousins, uncles, nephews, a number of other outside parties could participate in rulership. Until very recently, in places like Bahrain, Qatar, even in Saudi Arabia now, you have finally a primogeniture system that has been imposed. But elsewhere, you still have this very difficult process of lateral succession that is going to create problems in Kuwait, perhaps in Oman, perhaps in the UAE, which has 7 different families, and they have not just one problem, but they have 7 problems, since there are 7 ruling families in the UAE.
Many people don't know the history of our family, even in Lebanon. Why? Because, as Sir Winston Churchill wisely said, history is written by the victors. And by choosing to remain Christian and independent, we lost all of our lands, our kingdoms and principalities. You'll probably be shocked, but I honestly think that a title simply as a personal honor is absolutely useless in the 21st century. The reason why my family and I keep this tradition is because we believe there is a contribution for the Middle East today. And I'm not talking about political power, but I'm talking about our duty. A prince has the duty of service to his people no matter what. We might lose our privileges, but we didn't lose our duty. Look the history of my late cousin who lived in this palace. He felt that he had the obligation of helping his people, even no longer being in power. He could just have enjoyed his money, but no, he was committed to his position, to his duty of service to his people. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius may be considered one of the greatest rulers of all times, and he hired a servant to the sole task of walking behind him as he received the accolades from the citizenry. Even when the emperor was praised, the servant had been instructed to whisper in his ear, "You're just a man." Even being the most powerful man on the planet, in his time, he was known as a kind and unpretentious person. This is the real kind of royal, the real kind of noble. The general people misunderstands the concept of royalty. The sovereign, reigning or not, is the ultimate servant. And one example I really like is the one from Princess Isabel of Brazil. Her father, Emperor Peter II, was one of the greatest sovereigns this whole world has ever had. His daughter, she was a toddler back then, and she was very excited to see the crowd, thousands and thousands of people. And then she asked the father, "Papa, one day they all be mine?" And then the emperor replied, "No, darling, one day you will belong to them."
Do you not see that God has granted you such a degree of power that you will observe every king trembling at your feet? For you are the sun, the kings are stars, and when the sun rises, no star will be seen.